So this is an obviously abandoned church over here in Alabama. Today the roof is sagging at odd angles and the wall is buckling and has fallen off of the foundation. In other words, this old building is ready to fall apart at any moment. I've been to a lot of old abandoned places, whether it be old houses, cemeteries, or churches, and I can't think of one that has scared me as much as this old church has. And it's not that I feel like this church could fall in at any minute. It's that every time I have ever seen this site, a shiver has immediately run up my spine, and it really creeps me out, for lack of a better term. And I don't know why that is. The vandalism is very evident inside of the church. All of the old pews were busted to pieces. Interestingly enough, these pews seem to... Good God, what's knocking up there? I am really trying to document this place. And did y'all, I hope that picked up on the microphone. Something went knock, knock, knock up in the attic. I'm sure there's just an animal. And preservation through documentation is something like this, capturing it as it was, before it's nothing but a pile of rubble. In preservation, where we can't physically save something, at least we can record it for future generations and preserve it. This church used to serve an African American congregation in a small community that is no more. I'm not sure at what point it was abandoned, but has obviously been abandoned and disused for many years. All right, so I think I've documented this church as best I can with what I know about this place. There is an attached graveyard. Let's go take a look at it now. I'm Robert, and this is Adventures into History. And I think that this is a really interesting headstone for Ollie Mae Robinson, who was born 1901 and passed away July 8th, 1988. She loved humanity, she loved God, her life, work was well done, and she has gone home to her reward. And right beside her is Willie Bell Harvey, April 2nd, 1910 to December 26th. I think that is 1998. And when I first stopped to look at this cemetery and was looking at the graves that were right off of the road in the clearing, I did not know it at the time, but my microphone was off. So I went through and documented all of the granite headstones that were clearly visible before we stepped into the woods to see what else we could find that was hidden away. And immediately I see a grave right here. That's a concrete slab right there. No visible headstone. Could be something etched in the concrete. Another concrete slab right here. Nothing seemingly etched into concrete. That is a huge indention right there. Right beside that grave with a very large indention is Joseph Glenn. He was a World War I veteran from Alabama, Corporal Company C 305th Service Battalion, Quartermaster Corps, World War I, August 12th, 1894 to September 8th, 1961. More graves there. Of course, this headstone. Oh, big indentions out there. Lots of graves in these woods. Right beside Joseph Glenn is Mary Glenn, June 3rd, 1867 to September 19th, 1988. What does it say? Henry? I think. Henry Glenn. August 2nd, 1924 to 1949. He was, 25 when he passed away. Very large indention right there. Two back to back. Well, there's one there. Okay, so let's try to start making sure we note how big this place is. That's a grave right there, an indention, a very shallow indention right there. A very deep indention right there. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a concrete slab on top of that one. Number 4, 5, and 6 at these very, very, very large indentions. Now, if you've ever not been able to see an indention on Adventures into History where a grave has sank in, surely you'll be able to see this one. This is actually 2, and it looks like it's just kind of washed away. There's a grave, 1, 2, just indentions. But look, I almost missed it. That's not a field stone, that's a concrete block. And then we have cemetery fence right here. See that old kind of fence? Bulb flowers planted at the head of that grave. That's foam for flowers there. I like to see the bulb flowers. I didn't see, this is actually a separate plot. See, cemetery fence goes around that way. No visible marked graves in there. Indention there, indention there. Don't see anything through there. Bear in mind, as we walk through these woods and look at these graves, while we don't know these people, we can't see these people here, we know where they worshiped at. We know where they went to church. We saw the place that these people used to go. And I think that that's very interesting to think about. And what would they think today if they could get up and look and see what happened around here with the church and everything? I'm sure that they would be heartbroken. There's a grave right there and a grave right there. Because when we are alive, we never imagine that the places that we are so used to seeing will rot away and one day be gone. And I'm sure these people never imagined that. I do have some more thoughts on the church as we search these woods for more graves and watch out for snakes. It was evident to me that at a certain time people were trying to keep that church up. They were having revivals there. There was modern foundation work done. At a certain time there was effort to keep that building standing as best as they could, and now it's completely abandoned and not long for this world. And I just wonder what happened. Maybe the last people that actually attended that church have passed away. That happens sometimes as communities move away. People move away to where there's more jobs, and the communities, the physical communities, dwindle and die away, and the churches are left abandoned and rot into the ground. I just wonder what happened there to leave it in that state. The soil out here is interesting. It's kind of a sandy soil, not really red clay. Sometimes indentions do not show as often or as well in the sandy soil. Now we can obviously see that we've seen indentions out here. I'm just noting that because while I study the land looking for more graves coming down this hill, I do see stuff that makes me think it's a grave, but nothing to confirm it. Like right there, that looks like an indention. I'm a little bit further away from where the graves are now, just kind of, I'm walking this tract of land that's cut out for this cemetery to see if there are more graves further back, because, and I'm basing it on the way that the woods look. This cemetery land is kind of cut out separate from the surrounding land. And we can see out there, that's more of like pine forest, logging land, whereas this has been kind of just untouched throughout here. So I'm walking through this kind of untouched area that goes with the cemetery to see if there's more burials that are further down the hill. If I don't see anything else, then we'll walk up and finish looking out there. But I just feel like there could be more. I don't know how many burials are in this cemetery site, of course. But oftentimes they're a little bit bigger than they look at first. It's snake time. Well, I just talked one up, didn't I? I'd rather see you than one of your scary cousins. He's just kind of frozen there, hoping that I don't see him. But we see you, pal, and we're going to leave you alone. Now, I gotta admit, I don't know what type of snake that is. So you'll have to identify it for me down in the comments. I'm usually pretty good at identifying different kinds of snakes, but I'm not sure what that is. It's beautiful though. And do you ever wonder, when you're wandering through the woods, how many snakes didn't I see that I walked right past? And, you know, they might not always be of the friendly variety. So I'm coming back up on the cemetery now. I can see those last two graves that I pointed out, concrete right there. So I'm going to kind of head off in this direction, and then we'll cut back up and see if I've missed any. Down in the lower section, I really did not see anything else that gave me any indication that burials furthered much past what we saw towards the end. But coming back up the hill, I did find more. This is concrete. No name on it. I believe that that is one right there. It's just no marking. I thought that was an indention, but maybe it's just kind of, I don't think that that is. And I don't really see too much else throughout there. So really the only place we have not walked is this first little section of woods all the way back. There's a grave there marked with concrete, no name on it. And then back through the woods, I see two more large indentions right there. I'm looking out for snakes first. Got two large indentions. And there's such a... Something moved in the leaves. I'm sorry, I am just jumpy today. Large indention there, large indention there. Nothing out through there that I can readily see. I'm sure there's more out here, but that really seems to be about it for the cemetery at this point. There is such a thick layer of pine straw on everything here that there's probably more that's just so well hidden, even I'm not seeing it right off, like that one right there. And there's one beside it. Well, all right, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this video and this documentation of these two historic sites. I think it's very important that we document our history and all of our history and not leave anything out. And documenting these places before they're completely lost to time, I think is so very important. And acknowledging the people that built them and worshipped there and lived in this area. Today we're basically in the woods. Not a lot of homes around that aren't modern. Nothing really that I've seen that seems to be as old as that church. So maybe this community just dried up and faded away. And the last building left is not going to be standing much longer. I hope that I did a good job documenting that church for preservation's sake. I don't go to places like that because I find them creepy. I go to them to document them for preservation through documentation. And sometimes I let my own unsensible fears stop me. But not often. There are not many places that have ever scared me like that. But the thing is, the people that used to worship there, they would laugh at me if they thought that I was creeped out. by their place. We'll see you next time, folks.